This is the story of Jesse, or more accurately, the story of a photograph of Jesse and the strange life it took after I pressed the shutter. The story actually begins before Jesse. After months of lockdowns and uncertainty, I needed to create something again. I decided to photograph a book in the South Australian outback and raise money for men's mental health. Jesse was a friend of a friend. In fact, I first knew of him through social media. He volunteered for the project. We headed into the outback, and Jesse stepped in front of my camera. The actual moment lasted a fraction of a second. Jesse stood in a real landscape in front of a real camera. Light hit the sensor, and the physical moment was over. But the photograph had only just been born. Light had become pixels. Pixels had become data, and Jesse's first home was no longer the outback. He lived on a memory card. Now that Jesse had become a digital artifact, he was malleable. I could crop him, color him, retouch him, and manipulate him. Today, AI can even identify him, isolate him, and create pixels that were never captured by my camera. The photograph was no longer simply captured, it was constructed. This is, at its core, digitisation. Real people and places become bits and bytes. Jesse's home changed again. Then I gave Jesse another home. He went into my book. Digital pixels became ink on paper. But the digital Jesse hadn't disappeared. Now there were two. Jesse was multiplying fast. I couldn't slow him down and didn't want to. His next home was on my website. Convergence is at play here. The one become many, able to be seen on any device, almost anywhere, and almost any time. But Jesse wasn't happy with that. He wanted more reach, more views. This is where Jesse discovered streaming and Instagram. He wasn't happy with being in a few places. He wanted to be in all places at once. Reels were not enough for Jesse. He wanted more places and more ways to be seen. Jesse was desperate to be discovered. This was easy on Instagram. Well, sort of. You had to stand out. You had to be cool. You needed to be noticed. He was liked, shared, saved, and sent to people I would never meet. Jesse was no longer simply stored somewhere. He was moving through a continuous stream of images, video, and information, and I no longer completely controlled where he went. A photograph made in the South Australian outback could now appear on a screen on the other side of the planet, almost instantly. One moment, one photograph, countless locations. Everyone loved Jesse, until they didn't. The likes stopped, so did the comments. Jesse was no longer seen. So where does Jesse live? Well, everywhere and nowhere. In a photo, on a website, in a phone, in my book, but most importantly though, in my journey as a photographer. And that's the true nature of web media.